Dear humans, I stand here today not for myself, but for every tail wagger, sloppy kisser, and curtain ninja. I stand here for each one of the thousands of dogs and cats killed in shelters each day, asking you to join our cause and help us make sure every best friend has a chance to meet one of their own. With Best Friends Animal Society leading the charge, and your help, we can save them all.
Thank you for joining us for Pet Connect. I'm Tara Douglas. If you want to come out this weekend to the Sylacauga Animal Shelter, we are walking dogs on Saturday from 11 to 1. And the shelter now has a new outdoor dog washing station. So if walking's not your thing, but washing a dog is your thing, then come on out and help us wash some dogs and then take them for walks and hope they don't get dirty. So we're there 11 to 1. Also come out to meet a lot of those dogs. We have over 100 dogs there at the shelter. And right now we've got a lot of adolescent dogs. So we have some puppies that are just growing up there at the shelter. So please come out, meet these dogs. Help us tell the world about these dogs and that they need homes. And if you see any Facebook posts, go ahead and share them, because you never know who you might have on Facebook that's a friend of yours that would like to have one of these dogs. And we can definitely work out a transport, because the Feral Dogs of Avondale Mill, we sent out 20 puppies this week to Florida and to New York. So we can figure out some kind of transport. We've got a van, we've got planes that come in and pick up puppies. We just need to really find these dogs a home. And we also have, well, here's Harley. This is one of those puppies that is growing up at the shelter. She's about 6 months old and obviously a shepherd mix. And she is such a sweet dog. She's really good on a leash, actually, for a dog that's growing up there at the shelter. She loves other dogs. She's up to date on shots. She's heartworm negative. She is just ready for a home. And she's also a very, very sweet, loving dog. So she'd be a great companion for someone. So if you know anyone that would like to have an older puppy, then come out to the shelter and meet Harley. We would really love to find her a home soon or get her to a rescue soon. And we are going to have an adoption event, so be watching the Facebook page for the shelter, for Feral Dogs of Avondale, and PetSense, because we're having an adoption event at the end of April. So we'll be putting a lot of information out about that. And we also have our spay-neuter event with Feral Dogs of Avondale Mill coming up on April 20th. So make sure to come out, and if you need a voucher to get your dog or cat fixed for $30, then we'll be back at PetSense and providing those for you. So be watching for more information about that. It'll be April 20th. Now we want to get to our special guest today. I have Mike and Melissa Blair here. They're visiting Sylacauga, and we've got all kinds of exciting things to talk to the two of you about. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. So let's talk about, you guys live in Ohio. That's where your home base is.
Yes.
But you're snowbirds. You travel around, and you're visiting Sylacauga right now. So tell us about some of your travels, because you've spent a good bit of time in Alabama over the past several years at least that I've known you. Yes.
Yeah, we've been doing this for 6 winters now.
Okay.
We've taken some fantastic trips. Beautiful country we live in that a lot of people aren't fortunate enough to see. Our first big trip was Route 66.
Okay.
We actually left Ohio mid-October and went to Chicago and started at the very beginning of Route 66 and drove. It took us 3 months to get to California.
Oh, wow.
To Santa Monica Pier. Yeah. And we saw all the quirky stuff that you see when you travel down Route 66.
And you got time to stop and enjoy it, too.
Oh, So, our travel days are really pretty simple. We only travel about 200 to 250 miles a day. And then we like to stop. We like to say we like to have cocktail hour, which might be an iced tea or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and then every second day we stop for 2 nights. And then we venture out and try to find as many local eateries, and we like to try different types of beers and wines and dinner and breakfast, and and see all the local quirky sites that we can. And that was a wonderful trip to go all the way to Santa Monica and travel all old Route 66 and see all the crazy things, the Leaning Water Towers and
the second largest rocking
chair.
Oh, great! Who doesn't want to see that?
It's just it's really fun, and some of the things that they hype up are like really worth seeing.
Yeah.
and other things are like, okay, whatever.
Makes for a good story, though.
So yeah,
Right.
yeah, and we have some beautiful, wonderful parks that we stayed in and met some fantastic
Yeah.
people. And
Well, you can
that was a
really
great
learn a
trip.
lot about areas, being able to stop and explore and meet people and,
yeah.
and enjoy it.
Yeah,
So-
we spent 3 winters in Gulf Shores. Absolutely love
Yeah.
Gulf Shores. The
Yeah.
beaches, the food, the people is wonderful. The weather is kind of why we stopped going to Gulf Shores for the 4 or 5 months in the wintertime. And
Yeah.
we actually had an opportunity. I'm retired from the military, so we had an opportunity to go stay at the naval base in Key West.
Okay. Well, then of course the weather's gonna be a little
And
better there.
it's
Yeah, right.
it's 75, 80 degrees.
Yeah.
They're pretty much all year with a wonderful breeze. You stay right on the water. And
Yeah.
you really get spoiled. I mean, going to a place like that is absolutely fantastic. So
So let's talk about, because with all of your travels, you've seen some great places, but you have dogs. So
Yes.
let's talk about traveling with dogs. I'm sure you've had all kinds of experiences with your dogs, and I know you've got a dog that's only 2, so he wasn't with you when you first started doing this 6 years ago. But let's talk about what happens
start?
with dogs.
Oh, go ahead.
so we have a little beagle named Georgia. That she's 10 years old, and she started these wonderful ventures with us, and she's fantastic.
Yeah.
She is very food driven, but she listens extremely well. She's a good girl. She's a snuggly little thing. She's a lot of fun. And she just goes with the flow.
Yeah.
She knows when we start packing up that we're going to go somewhere. She gets all excited, and we have to put her in the truck like 2 hours before we depart because she gets all antsy and she's hopping around and acting all crazy. And so she's been a wonderful travel companion.
And she's just as happy to see the big rocking chair as you are.
Oh, ecstatic. She can't wait to go over there and, take care of her business underneath
Yeah.
it. So it's always fun. And then someone got a wild idea. She wanted a puppy. So our puppy is Henry. I think we got some
We've got some pictures.
got some
Chris will pop
pictures
them
of
up in a
Henry.
second.
Henry.
He is now almost 2 years old and weighs about 208 pounds.
Yeah.
He's an English Mastiff, and he is quite the character. Once you get him in the vehicle, he travels very well.
Yeah.
He,
I like Melissa's looks on her face.
yeah, he kind of climbs up, and then you have to pick up his backside. And he's a heavy dog, and like I said, he gets the back seat of the 450 all to
Yeah.
himself, and Georgia usually rides up front with us. So
I tell you, Henry needs the whole back.
Oh.
I've never been around a dog as big as Henry. It's like being around a lion. He is
Yeah.
huge. But he's the sweetest thing on earth. It's like, how could you not want Henry as a travel companion?
yeah, he's been,
Georgia's probably the highlight because she's so easy, but
She is very easy.
yeah, he's a little.
He's a lot of maintenance.
Yeah, and
He's
thank God Melissa's wonderful as far as nails and ears, and
Yeah.
he's a drooling machine, and he's always got, we call them eye boogers, and so you'll see us always walking around with a rag in our back pocket for collecting up the drool and everything. But he's a wonderful dog.
because he's pretty laid back. I would imagine that he would be a great.
Yes.
I mean, if he was here, he'd be laying on the floor.
Oh,
You'd
yeah.
hear him snoring. So he's crazy. He's such a good boy, and it's been really nice traveling with him. It's a little intimidating, I think, for other people.
Yeah.
Especially when Melissa walks him, and he's twice as big as she is, better than 2 times as big as she is. So there's a lot of comments that we get, and
I bet.
and but he's very good. He's very well trained. We've gone through 2 cycles of training with him now.
Okay.
Because we want
And there's a picture of him playing with a sprinkler.
Yes.
Is that in your yard?
Yeah, it's at our
Ohio?
place. It's at our place in Ohio.
Yes.
Yeah, there he is. There's the big
That's
man.
his usual position.
And is that his futon?
Yes,
He's laying
that's
right
his
there?
bed.
He
That's
is
his
such a big dog.
He's
It's
a big-
amazing to be
he's a
around.
big-
And there he is with
Yeah.
Georgia.
There's Georgia.
I like Georgia's look on her face, like, I can't believe you brought this dog into my
Yeah,
life.
and that's the face we usually
face
get.
every
yeah,
day. Yeah,
every
that's
day.
her
She
face
can't
every
believe.
day.
There he is.
There you go.
There's a good picture of.
I showed that picture
So-
to Jonathan last night because he didn't get to meet Henry yesterday. And he was like, oh, the perspective is off. Henry's not really that big. It's like, no, Henry is that big.
And you can see him
And-
with his paws all over
I
his
know.
mama, and that's the way he is all the time. They spend a lot of time on that futon together. He's quite the animal. He's a character. There he is. He was a little bit younger.
Yeah, I was about to say
there,
his head's
He's
not as
little
big
one,
right
huh?
there.
He's
So
a
he's,
puppy there. He's about 10 months old there.
So what kind of, what are some interesting things that have happened traveling with dogs in particular? Are there any kind of things that stand out? Have you had any emergencies traveling with the dogs? Anything that would help other people know what to do traveling
So
with dogs?
knock on wood, we've been very fortunate with no incidents or accidents. They haven't gotten into anything. They haven't
Good.
done anything that required a vet. We've been very fortunate at that, but we also keep very close. We keep very close rein with them.
Yeah.
We don't. They're never off leash. I shouldn't say they're never off leash because we take them to dog parks.
Okay.
And we let them run around. They're very good with other dogs. They don't have any issues whatsoever. The health shot records, that's always something that, we keep up on that.
Yeah, and that's pretty much a travel thing. When you're traveling and you're going to different campgrounds and your different parks, you have to have your records.
Okay.
They require that.
So,
that's
usually
great.
when you
You
check
need
in,
to-
you show them your driver's license and your pet records.
Okay.
So, but Henry's, like I said, he's very intimidating, and people that don't know him, it's actually a good thing because they stay away from him. And
Yeah.
then eventually they'll, and then you go, you stay.
And then you see him laying like that, and you realize he's
Well,
just a big,
yeah.
a big lump of
and
love.
when you stay someplace, everybody knows your dog. They don't necessarily know you.
Yeah.
Oh, you're Henry's mom and dad. Oh, you guys got Henry.
Because you guys have a fifth wheel, so you're staying in campgrounds and staying with a lot of people. Probably are traveling with their dogs too.
Yeah, there's
Quite a few.
quite a few people. A lot of labs, a lot of little dog. I call them yappy dogs, but a lot of little dogs, and they're very intimidated by his size and.
But I bet Henry's intimidated by the little dogs, because most little dogs I've ever seen control big dogs. So.
Yeah, he has his moments. Like I say, he's just a baby still. He's not even 2 years old, and
He does.
some dogs he just lays right down and they maul him, and they climb all over his head and they play and they're fine. And other dogs he doesn't want anything to do with. So
Yeah.
I guess it's a lot like humans are, in that fact. So,
But I bet it is intimidating to get him in a dog park too, and have. And for other people at first, when they see that giant dog come in and
They're all,
their
like,
dog's out there
scattered.
running
Oh
around.
yeah, there's people that have actually left.
Yeah.
Have actually strapped their dogs up and left the dog park, and I'm like, he's just
Yeah.
he's just big.
Just a sweet dog.
Yeah, he loves the water. He thinks he's a Labrador, so if there's any kind of water, like a kiddie pool, and it doesn't matter if the kiddie pool's this big or this big,
Yeah.
he's in it.
He's in it.
Yeah.
He'll put some part of his body in it.
He's funny. We were down in Ruskin, Florida, and the kiddie pool there was probably this big around. We had that like this much water in it, and he's trying to figure out how to get as much of his body stuffed in that thing as he can, and we're all laughing. And
Like he's stuffing his body on this picture on this futon too.
he's smashing the sides of the pool, and water's running out. But it's been a lot of fun. They travel really well. We could take them anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, we could take them if there's like outdoor eating areas. We take them with us, and he likes to crawl underneath the table, and he has to be touching you all the time. And Georgia's just sitting there staring at you, waiting for you, hoping you'll drop something.
She's a beagle. That's what beagles do.
She's a hound.
Yeah,
She's
she
definitely a hound. So she's just trying to get something to eat. So we've been very fortunate with our dogs
Yeah.
that we haven't been in a place where they've jeopardized their health or safety at
Yeah.
all.
Well,
So-
you're careful with them, which everyone should be.
yeah, I mean,
And-
it's like traveling with your grandkids,
Yeah.
or your kids. You have to keep an eye on them constantly. And, sometimes when you're at 10 o'clock at night and they need to go out and go for a walk, and, Georgia, she'll just go out and take care of her business and comes right back in. Well, Henry, he wants to go sniff and check stuff out, and he's extremely nosy. So him and I usually take a 45-minute to an hour walk at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. Because he wants to check
the
everything
grounds.
out.
Yeah, he's got to
And
make
that's
sure
when
everything's
I
good.
get a little bit of time with him, try to get him off leash and get him to stay, and training him, and he's done very, very well.
Yeah.
So like I said, we've got good dogs. They're quiet.
That's the
Besides
key.
his size, most people don't even know we have dogs
Yeah.
because they're not barking and being rude and acting all crazy. So
I bet he has an intimidating bark when he decides to bark, though.
Oh, yes.
he'll get your attention.
But I bet
So-
it is nice to be able to travel with a fifth wheel and have control over where you are. Because I know when we moved across the country, we had our 2 dogs with us, and we adopted one from here and took her to Washington initially. And I didn't realize it'd be so hard to find hotels where we could stay with dogs. And I bet there isn't a hotel around that allows a 200-pound dog.
Yeah,
But-
it's very difficult. We have been fortunate, and like I said, we've been doing this for 6 years now, and We actually live in our RV full time.
Yeah.
So for us, it's just a way of life.
Yeah, it's just natural.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, we're very
Yeah.
fortunate that we get to change our geography. You know, we'll go home and we'll spend 5 or 6 months there in Ohio. We have a beautiful piece of property with a big pond, and
Yeah.
the dogs get to free range, and they absolutely love it.
Yeah.
You know, they get to run around, and Henry spends most of his time between the pond and the sandbox. He doesn't understand when he comes south and he goes in the ocean that I don't understand why I can't drink this water.
Yeah.
You know, so we were at Fort Rucker before we came up here for 10 days, and they have a big man-made lake there, and oh my gosh, he was in heaven because he got to go. And he goes all the way up to here. Georgia gets about this much of her leg wet, and
then
she's
she's
good,
good.
you know. She's good, so they're kind of crazy, but Henry thinks he's a Labrador most of the time when he gets around water. He absolutely loves it. So
Well, Henry was a great dog to meet. I was so glad that you guys brought him for me to meet him. So
yeah,
he's
we're
such a,
very excited you got to meet him.
yeah, he's such an amazing dog. But you know, we appreciate you coming on the show today and telling us about traveling with dogs.
Thank you.
We'll have you on again because I understand that you are potentially looking for houses around here.
We're
So
looking.
maybe we'll
We're
see
looking.
Henry around town a lot in the future. But
Yeah, we're
thanks
looking.
again for coming on the show. And if you're ever here and want to walk dogs, then come to the Sylacauga Animal Shelter, and we're there 11 to 1 this Saturday. And we'll have more Daybreak after these messages.